Good evening, everyone. Jose J. Garcia, real estate investor, coach, and mentor. So we got another Sunday coaching series. The series continues. It's not going anywhere. We'll continue to add value, try to coach as much as we can, give you as much guidance, tips, wherever we can help. So that's why we are here. Tonight we are doing a Q&A. So we're going to be talking about just, rapid question fire. And these are a lot of the questions that come in. We get questions on a daily basis, DM, Instagram, all over social medias. We will respond to each and every one of those questions, whether it's an email or a DM through one of our social medias. But any questions that are constantly being repeated, like I tell mostly, if you watch our social media, is I will create little reels, little shorts, to kind of answer the question for everybody. Again, I'm always trying to add value. Now, whenever we have a large lump sum of questions, I'll go ahead and just get a email sent over to me and let me just toss them on here. Now, there will be other questions here on Instagram. Instagram, you're live. You can also drop questions on the chat. Towards the end, I'll go back and answer any of them that are on there as well. So that being said, let me go ahead and jump on to. I want to cover real quick before we get into the Q&A. I am posting a lot more videos as well on YouTube, educational wise. Of course, some of those can be about deals, maybe some investments coming available. Coaching, we're talking about doing some changes on that as well, but it'll probably be further towards the summertime where we change some of the coaches we're doing a little more direct, thinking about doing something like maybe inner circles, 10 people maybe on Zoom or maybe, in person. I don't know. Playing around with some of those. Tell me what y'all think on something like that if you'd be interested. And obviously, it'd be a little more direct. Obviously, that's what I'm always aiming to. Is I love big crowds, but you cannot meet, handshake, and connect with everybody that way. So I like to keep these groups small if we can. But a couple of announcements towards the end as well. Obviously, some events that are coming up and some things to look forward to. But one of the videos that I posted from us, what's today, Sunday, 2 days ago. I've been nonstop going, so it just seems like days blend. That's a good thing in a way. So, but yesterday, Saturday, yes, I actually went to a community where I had to do a closing, and I did a tour of what was considered the final walkthrough of a contractor's job. This contractor, that was his first time that he'd been working with us. And, I keep going to this because me adding value means I want to look out I want you to make as least mistakes as possible. Learn from other people's mistakes, and the mistakes that we've made, this wasn't a mistake, but more so the mistakes that, other people make. We're always trying to always better our systems, better how we do everything. This one contractor, like most contractors, came in, great on paper, great on the phone, everything is there. And that typically tends to be the case because, no contractor or handyman is going to get on the phone with you and say, oh, I do a terrible job. I don't show up to work. I call in or I play sick. Or, they're never going to say that. They give you the best version of them. They sound great on the phone. They're easy to get along to, but, it's always start that job, the first job, because after that first job, it's, that's where you're really going to see how the communication is going. And some of this, I will put it on the investors. I've had many investors who tell me, well, I don't feel like bothering them. I don't really want to keep checking on them. I feel like I'm maybe they think I'm micromanaging, etc. I don't care. You're not in a position to play out of emotion. This is a business, and when it comes to a contractor, if I need to call them every 5 minutes, that is micromanaging, but it could be a reason behind it. Now, we're not going to continue with a contractor if that's the case like that. But, this contractor, he checked in decently. Everything seemed to be for the most part, he was okay. But it started after, gave us a quote on it's going to be 2 weeks. I'll be done. Everything will be obviously presentable like you want, etc. We do a full breakdown of everything. He went in first day, great. Second day, great. Of course, first day is more clean out. Anything that's damaged, go and tear it up even more, take it apart, and so that we can kind of rehab and go from there. About day three, we could immediately realize that he was texting a little less. He wasn't really answering the phone, and now he was busy. And hey, today I'm coming a little later, etc. Again, to stay up to as long as the job gets done within the time frame. And of course, we give them a little bit of grace period. I'm okay with it. But you can tell people's character real quickly as you're working with something's going on or so. And I don't want to get too much into this. We got a Q&A to get into, but anyway, first week went by and he was already more and more behind. Second week went by, got further behind. Now he called off for 2 days because he has some family issues, which you'll hear a lot of those as well. True or not, I'll let you decipher. I've heard every story in the book at this point. Some people apparently have 20 grandfathers. So you kind of know where I'm going with that. But anyway, so, you know, week 2 went by and he was not done. He was not done. And he's like, well, because of this, because of that, which is excuses. Okay. Excuses or results. He didn't have results. He had a lot of excuses. So, okay, how many more days do you need? Suddenly, this remaining duties that he kept claiming were needed, we're going to take an additional week. So even though he only missed a couple days worth of work, somehow it required a whole another week to go by. So fine, you know, we could find other contractors, and we did. There's backups, but they can't get to it for another couple weeks or 3 weeks. So here's kind of where you kind of get pinned in a bind. You know, if it's a horrible contractor, get rid of it. I would much rather wait for a good contractor than hopefully this guy works out. This is a business. Okay. Again, this is a business, and I don't play out of hopes and dreams. So go ahead. We tell them, go ahead. All right, we just go ahead and get it done. But in our mind, we're already putting the backups, make sure they're kind of up there, available readily. And we did. Okay. But he goes in there and again starts taking them more frequently. Everything is checking out. And he's got to change this out. And I actually run into another issue on the floor. The lumber wasn't evening out. It's going to tear the vinyl, etc. I'll go ahead and fix it, you know, and get that squared away. Awesome. Send us pictures of that. And, you know, the jobs he's doing, checking out for the most part, you know. Then again, slow again. Now he needs to miss a couple more days. Long story short, I go out there Saturday, yesterday, and, you know, it's like, I know he's not done, but he's saying, you know, it's basically touch up and clean and I'm good. Far from. If you go to GarciaMHU.com, click on the YouTube, I think it's the last video that I posted, and I did what I would do a thorough walkthrough to make sure. Now, typically when it's a contractor saying I'm finished, I'm done, and they're quick to ask for money. Give me the money. Give me, you know, we don't pay until we do a final walkthrough, whether it's us, boots on the ground, somebody we have, you know, and of course you build a relationship after a while, and then everything checks out. You know, you build that trust. Some contractors, I don't have to check after. I said a simple little phone call. I know what's going on, and we're good. But the walkthrough should have took me about 2 minutes. You know, and just any little misperfections, whatever. Let it be. If it's nothing that's going to take away from. But it wasn't. You know, as soon as I walk in, I see live wires coming out of the wall, which thank God the power was off. But you know, that's a hazard immediately. So, you know, you miss something that obvious, how many more things you're missing? Even things that look good, it's like, you know, do I need to pull the vinyl back? Do I need to check some of these walls, make sure that you've actually done the job right? And, you know, we've had some contractors that do, I mean, they spend so much time trying to hide things that if they would have just done them correctly, they would have gotten done faster. But that's the kind of things that you have to look out for. So check out that video. I thought it was very educational. I broke it down steps, you know, as I'm going room by room from ceiling to the bottom, and just kind of explain things that I would look for. And obviously, far from presentable. Don't need to tell you if that contractor is working with us any further, because you kind of know the answer to that. So all right, let me get into the Q&A, and we'll go ahead and rapid fire. So let's see. How much can I expect to make in a mobile home rental? I see a lot of those questions that come in. I had another one that said, how much should I get a mobile home for? And how much should I rent for? Should I sell for? Every market is different. Every market is different. Where is my, here we go. Every market is different. So I can tell you, as part of becoming an investor, you know, before you invest in any mobile home, you have to know the numbers, the market numbers, so that you can decipher, can I do certain deals here? If I can, what type of exit strategies? You can't say I want to be a landlord and I'm going to do this in this market or that market. So, you know, again, that's the biggest thing that you need to focus on. Markets choose what exit strategy you should be doing. Best of ROIs. Okay. So we get on average 400 to 600 a month. That's just on the markets that we are working in. Okay. What are the maintenance costs associated with owning a mobile home? That was a good question. I like that one. And, you know, I'm going to make a coaching on some of these breakdowns, because when we talk about return on the investments and numbers, and, you know, if you're a landlord, there's always going to be expenses, whether it's taxes, you know, at the end of the year when you have to re-register the home. There's insurance. If you are renting a mobile home, the tenant has to have a type of insurance, but you have an insurance on the mobile home itself. Now, it's not huge numbers by any means, but it is an expense that we obviously have to allocate for the property, for the mobile home. On average, you know, every mobile home is different. Every tenant is different. Some tenants take care of the mobile homes better than others. I've had some tenants who fix issues and just kind of let me know in passing, hey, the toilet was leaking. I went ahead and fixed it. So you're gonna have to run into something like that. But on average, I would say is from a mathematical standpoint, I've heard 10%. 10% of the gross of what you're making should be allocated for a repair. Again, that's a hit and run, hit and miss, and something like that. Okay. Are there any zoning restrictions I should be aware of for my mobile home? It depends on where the mobile home is, or what you're trying to do with something like that. I had an investor. She's trying to do a lot of land packages, and apparently she has a lot of land sections already picked out, parcels, etc. None of them are zoned for mobile homes. So, you can't just say, hey, I like this piece of land here next to these few houses, which happens to be a subdivision, and I'm going to bring two mobile homes. It doesn't work that way. It's got to be zoned for. And the best way to do that is to visit the county site or call the building inspector or planning department. They'll let you know yay or nay. Where was I? Can I finance a mobile home investment? Through us, I'm going to be talking about that Tuesday. So yeah, no, banks are still not loaning. We are seeing now, and I don't want to get into real estate. I don't want to get into the market and all this stuff going on, but we are seeing more people getting denied for traditional real estate lending at this time, which means obviously we're getting more buyers, more tenants. Anytime the market does what it's doing now, shifting at this point, it's like that's when we see a even larger need of people needing affordability housing. So when it comes to something like that, if they're not lending on a house, they're not about to lend on your mobile home. Okay. Private money lenders, hard money, they'll lend anytime. Okay. If rules change in a community, can I expect exemption as an investor? No. So when you do, and with every community park operator, owner, we have something different in writing. Yes, everything is in writing. I have a couple park owners that I don't want to say they let me do whatever I want, but we have such a good relationship that if I tell them, hey, we're going to do Section 8 in this side of the community, or Airbnb, or, extended stays, or they'll kind of just go, oh, that's fine, because they know the type of tenants that I'm going to bring into the community. But the rule of thumb is that anybody living in the community, whether it's the actual homeowner or a buyer of yours, you're an investor, you own the home, you don't live there, but whoever's going to live there, they have to abide by the rule and regulations. So no, you don't get to exempt those. Still have to abide by. Do you recommend replacing the roofs with every rehab? No, absolutely not. Um, because they may not need it. If it's even an older 80s model, 90s model, metal on metal, which are my favorite, they're easier. I would say replace it. I would reseal, first of all, a metal on metal roof. And then if it absolutely needs it, maybe a newer model mobile home that has shingle roof, you get to replace that. But even shingle roofs, the few that we've gotten as a shingle roof, we put metal roofs. If it starts leaking, there's damages. I don't go back with shingle. I don't like shingle roofs. So we do metal, and that lasts longer. That can get resealed again. So you kind of start that pattern. Okay. Do I need a license to buy or sell mobile homes? Depending on which state you are in, overall, it depends how you're trying to sell them. If you're trying to be more like a dealership, then I would say, yeah, you need to have a license. But if you're going to be more like an investor, maybe wholesale, or that's some misconception that a lot of people think. It's also if I'm a wholesaler, I have to have a license. And look, I don't know every state. I don't know every obviously rule law out there, because we only cover so many states at this time. But from the states that we cover, it's like, as a wholesaler, you're not really selling anything. You're simply assigning. So when you take somebody selling me a mobile home, I'm going to put it on the contract. The contract is going to be typically 1 or 2 pager, and it's going to have that I have the option to assign it to somebody else. So when there's another buyer that comes around the corner, I'm a wholesaler, so I'm looking for these guys. I'm going to assign the deal to them and simply mark it up. And it's all how you word this stuff, by the way. I wouldn't even call it, I wholesale that home. I simply got paid for my time. Okay. I found this individual a mobile home that he was seeking, and I had the time. I found it. I put it on an agreement for them, and I got paid for that. So, license, unless you absolutely need it, we don't, I don't know, just depends on it. Maybe send me an email, which state you're in. We can look a little further into that. Okay. How do I invest in the mobile homes with no money? Okay. How do I invest in a mobile home with no money up front? So wholesaler, bird dog, be a connector. I just told you find a mobile home for a investor who is buying. The best investors that you can find mobile homes for are community park operators. If you visit any mobile home community and you see multiple pads vacant, there's a reason why they are vacant. Okay. So you can be a source of help to them and simply find their quotations inventory. They'll pay you, you assign it, that kind of thing. So there are ways to start. Um, one of the topics we're adding to the shadow this year is going to be credit cards. How to use credit cards to invest in mobile homes. So, that is money in a sense, but it's somebody else's money. So OPM. You mentioned mobile homes not requiring permits or inspections to rehab, but I have one that the city will not allow me to turn the power on without being inspected. Okay. How can I bypass? You can't bypass that. Okay, so I'll say that you don't need permits or you don't need inspections to do rehabs in mobile homes. Now, there's a gray area to that. If you have a community where it's near to bigger cities, example, there's one community that we invested in. I mean, it is downtown Atlanta. I mean, it is there. That is a community that, yes, absolutely. And they drive through there. Inspectors, they drive through the city just checking in. If they see any big dumpsters or any type of rehab, they will go knock on the door and figure out what's going on. If they find you doing some type of rehab, have to be decently amount of rehab, they can shut you down and tell you got to go get a permit. You got to go get this, obviously sign up for inspection. Now, the way you're talking about on here is the city will not allow me to turn the power on to the home. That is typically because if a mobile home has not had power running to it, active running power to it for 30, 60, 90 days or longer, depends on the county, then once it passes that time frame, they're going to require you to do an inspection. But the inspection is typically pretty simple. You can just find a licensed electrician to go out there, review it, make sure it checks out, they'll sign you a form, you can take it to the city. The city may or may not send their own inspector to do another walkthrough as well, and then you're good to go. I'm not going to get into prices. That's a couple $100, maybe 300, just depends on where you're at, but that's a little different inspection. Should I put the mobile homes I purchased in my name or a business? Always a business. You shouldn't even put your vehicles in your name. Everything should be in an LLC, an entity, if you got a corporation, that sort of thing. But yes, absolutely. I don't know how many mobile homes you plan on doing or you've done, but I would never recommend putting anything in your personal name, especially something like this. Okay. I'm not having any luck finding parks that allow investors in. How can I find friendly communities? Branding, marketing, and advertising. Okay, you got to brand more, you got to advertise more, you have to make more cold calls, you can call them that. You have to visit communities as well. And sometimes it could be just as simple as following up. If you go to one community and they say no, you go away and go to the next one and the next one. You're just repeating a cycle of failure. So you have to follow up again and follow up again. A lot of these communities, they don't want to work with investors because one or two investors have came through. They left them in worse condition than when they started. And now they kind of have not a good thing for investors. So, just follow up is key and fill out the park operators. Okay. Best way to title search a mobile home. That sounds like a real estate question. Best way to title search my real estate property on parcel 123. Okay. Call the DMV, check out the tax assessor's office, ask for a title. If the seller is selling your mobile home, that's one of the first questions that we ask them is, do you have a title? If they say no, then that's a red flag immediately. If they say yes, I always ask. Some do it, some don't. I've said, may I look at the title? They say no, not until you're ready to buy it. But that's basically why you're searching for a title, is make sure there's one actually active. Okay. Where's the best place to post my mobile home wholesale deals? Social media, Craigslist, Let Go, Facebook, reach out to investors. If you ever see we buy mobile home bandit signs, call them. They're buyers, they're investors. Okay, you can put them everywhere. Can't be social media. Social media is where it's at. It's growing, it's big, and people share your posts, so it kind of gets out further and further. Okay. Can mobile home parks force you to keep a mobile home in the park? Oh, that's a good one. Very good one. Can mobile home parks force you to keep a mobile home in a park? I don't know if I want to tell you a story that we're dealing with currently, and it happens to be the other way around. Okay. We were trying, not forcing, okay, not forcing, but okay. No, A community cannot say, well, if you buy, and this could be the owner, if you buy this mobile home from us, you can't move it for 5 years, 10 years. No, it's personal property. Imagine if you have a camper, and I use this example because we're in there now, and I'll bring my camper to a RV campground. Okay, I'm going to bring it in and I'm going to station it and I'm going to pay for the month. And then they turn around and say, yeah, but you cannot move it for 7 years and you have to pay me lot rent every month for those 7 years. Would you keep it there? No, there's no agreement to that. I'm not getting married to the community park, right? So they cannot withhold that. Now, what they can do is create a lease between the community and yourself or the investor and say, if we're going to allow you to invest in this community, you have to pay us, you have to do an agreement for and gray area. This depends on certain states. You can't even do over a year at a time. So it's like you have to do a year, or if you do get away with it, you have to do a 7 year lease agreement with us. Now, if you sign that lease agreement with them saying, yes, I will keep it for 7 years, and you move the mobile home or you sell the mobile home and your buyer ends up moving it, they can take you to court to say, for the next 7 years, you were supposed to pay a monthly of X amount. Okay. So, that's gray area on something like that, but it works. Okay. How can I protect myself legally in a sale to avoid future court? I don't know. What are you trying to sell? How can I protect myself legally in a sale to avoid future court? As is. That's a good one. I'm going to put that on the chat. There you go. Learn to type that on everything you put. If you've ever bought a used vehicle, you will see that it says there's no warranty, there's no guarantees. Okay. The vehicle is sold as is. Means that once you review it, once you check it out, once you sign the paperwork and you say, hey, this works out, here's the money, I'm willing to buy it. You have agreed to the terms and conditions that you're willing to buy it as is currently its condition. If you take it down the road and it breaks down, well, that's on you. It was as is when you got it. So, can I protect myself for the future? Again, just all your paperwork, make sure it's on point. If you need to visit with an attorney, real estate attorney, to make sure that your paperwork checks out, do so as well. But as is can help you as well. Okay. What is the mobile home? What is a mobile home you would not invest in? Too much rehab. Certain markets, I couldn't move it based on the year. It could be a poorly market where the rental rates are too low, lot rents are too high. But if the mobile home is under 1976, for instance, I'm not going to invest in it anyway. At this point, we're typically staying around 80s, 90s, and above just for different reasons too. But yeah, I mean, something that needs too much rehab. And that's a mistake I see. A lot of investors try to make deals that are not deals. If it's not a deal, if it's too much numbers, it's not going to get better. Let it be. The best deal sometimes you get is the one you didn't get. Can a seller sell a mobile home if the title is in another family member's? All right, that's going to be the last question. Can a seller sell a home if the title is in another family member's name? That's a good question, though. Yes and no. So, if the family member is deceased, that could be an issue, which I mean, anybody can sign the title. But I always say that causes an issue. Definitely, I'm not an attorney. I cannot give anybody legal advice. By the way, all this that we're answering on here is for educational purposes only. But I would say that yes and no. If it's a family member that's, maybe moved out of state, they can do what they can mail it off, sign it, or if they give them the rights to be able to sign it, then that's fine. Just to make sure that, and we do run into something like that where it's like somebody has a title, people will sell a mobile home to a seller, will sell to a buyer. The buyer buys it, pays the money, but never transfers the title or even signs the back of the title. Then he or she turns around and sells it again and sells it again. You'll have 3, 4 different buyers and nobody has signed the title. So, you run into stuff like that. That's really an attorney question. There are ways to, bypass that if you can, if you can find a original seller as well. So, all right, that's the last of that question. So, I hope that helps. That's 21 questions. We're going to call it that. Q&A 21 questions. I think that's how many it was. So, but yeah, all these issues, don't rush into any deal. That's one thing that I can encourage a lot of people. And a lot of people talk about it, want to get in it and never take action. But I do see some investors that bite more than they can chew. And that's just, trying to rush into things, thinking it's the last deal they'll ever get. Don't rush into something like that. Okay. We have a couple announcements real quick. So the shadow event is coming up. Now, we had a call last week, a couple calls. I was actually a guest speaker on a big platform as well, and we gave them a special price to join before us Sunday. I thought it was only fair if we also open it to the public, being everything is equal here. We're fair, square across the board. So you have until midnight to sign up for the shadow. If you are interested at half that price, it goes live and active tomorrow, and then it'll be full price. So the shadow, for whoever is new watching us on here, let me get the zoom back up. There we go. The shadow is a day where you get to come by my side and shadow me in investing in mobile homes. I will teach you how to get leads, how to talk to sellers, how to make offers, how to find the value to mobile homes as is, how to do closings, the exit strategies, how to multiply your deals, get into land deals, okay? Get into mobile home parks if you're interested in that as well. So, this is a step by step. It's a full Saturday, from start to finish. It is back to back this education. We have 4 speakers that are coming to the event as well. We have contractors, handymans that will be there at the event. This is a community park where we're going to take you out as well, walk you through and show you while we're doing certain rehabs, things that need to be rehabbed, changed, updated, upgraded, you name it. The whole goal is that you leave out of there and you know how to start your first deal from start to finish. We'll share a lot of information. Park managers will be speaking there as well. I know that's one of the biggest fears for new investors is, what do I say to a park manager? You'll get to ask them there. They'll give you advice on how to connect with other park managers as well. And then we'll have a surprise guest speaker that comes in, and we'll be talking about other opportunity investments as well. So spend a full day with me. If you're on Instagram, I know you cannot click on the link. I've been told over and over, and I still think sometimes it may work, but it doesn't. Send us an email, j@garciamhu.com, or visit our website at garciamhu.com. All right, that's going to do it for this evening. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Don't forget off market mobile home deals. We'll be pitching them live as well, right back here on Instagram also. So, all right, well, thank you all for watching me this evening. Have a good night.